Hey everyone, it's rare to find competent shows with raw fight scenes. In the last few years, most of the action movies I've seen focus way too much on camera movements with way too many edit cuts in between them, or very unrealistic fights where normal humans punches walls with bare fists. And don't even get me started with the superhero movies, as they have become dull and boring, focusing more on CGI spectacle with a lot of cringe dialogue and moments. The new Netflix show, Bloodhounds, is a callback to the raw fights we used to have back in the old days, with some amazing choreography before everything was replaced with CGI. But it's not just the fights, it has a very compelling story that takes place in the 2020 in the middle of this thing, when we were sent home to quarantine and we had to wear masks everywhere we went. So, before I start, there is no way to talk about the show without a bunch of spoilers, so consider yourself warned. The show depicts how hard 2020 was for the majority and how the people who made a living lending money became more and more powerful. These people were called shark loans. They lend money to almost anyone, but with huge interest, and if they couldn't get their money back, they would start to get violent. I have to say that I related a lot with the times of this show, as I myself had a very bad 2020, starting with my most painful breakup, then losing my job because the company went bankrupt, and then by the end of the year my health started drastically going down and my anxiety going up. It truly was the lowest moment of my entire life. And I know there are people who had it way worse, but because I had some small savings, I never had to borrow money or was in that position, and I managed to get through. Seeing this show, I consider myself lucky, as I can't even imagine myself if I had to borrow money from shark loans and then be put in a position to defend myself from violent attacks from them. The show depicts a dark but realistic time that many can relate with. The main character of this show is a bit boring when it comes to his personality, as he is a righteous man with a few words but hard punches. On the other hand, everyone around him shines. We got his best friend who's very social and has a way with his words. He is also an NCP freak.
Sir, he's just high on pride. If you could let him off the hook this one time.
High on pride?
Oh, too much MCP, sir.
What is that, huh?
It's short for Marine Corps pride.
We got the curious beauty who doesn't like to socialize too much, but likes to stick her nose into trouble. She can also handle herself in a fight. She displays power in a plausible manner by using her brain, her wits and weapons. Then we got the old wise grandpa who has a shady past and now spends his entire life trying to do good deeds, and his subordinates that also have unique personalities and characteristics. We got the chef who is also a master when fighting with knives, and we got the soon-to-be father who reminds me of Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist. Then we have the loyal driver and butler who is basically like Batman's butler. He also has a granddaughter who can really pierce through the villains. Even the villain side have some unique characters who really do an amazing job of making you feel how serious and bad they really are. We got the muscle guy who seems to be unstoppable like a wall, but in a realistic way. He cannot punch or destroy walls, but he can take a lot of hits and you see him bleeding like a normal human being. He's got a lot of tenacity. Then we got the greedy coward who likes to play the boss, but in reality he's just a small fry. We got the guy who's like a shady fox who works for the bad guys, but he's smart enough to know better. And finally, the most ruthless of all of them is the boss, who has everything: money, control, fear, and knows how to fight. The villains here don't just sit idle and wait for the good guys to come and ruin their plans. They go full on and counter them. At every turn, when the good guys think they have a win, the bad guys come and get them back tenfold. You really get the full package when it comes to unique characters. And then we have the fight scenes, which are incredible and a blast to watch. They bring the wow factor in this entire show. Every punch feels good, every movement has a purpose. When the bad guys outnumber the good guys, you don't just see them waiting in a line to throw a punch, they go in for the hit. And you would think that this would be enough to keep you entertained, but they keep pushing the narrative and the fights get more and more serious, from just street fighting to full-on torturing and even murdering. I already told you that this is going to have spoilers, but if you're still not convinced by now to go watch it, I'm going to warn you again, a final time. Spoiler. Okay? Still here? So, in episode 7, the good guys manage to get a huge win on the villains. You see them lowering their guards just for a few moments, and that is enough for the bad guys to come and step in. They kill the chef, they kill the father-to-be and his pregnant wife. They kill the old wise grandpa, and the best friend also goes down. You would think such unique characters have plot armor and don't die, but no, this show doesn't care. They full on start to kill the most likable characters. The stakes keep going higher and higher, and the fights really do give you an adrenaline, as when the good guys do get a win, you actually feel like they made some progress, only to see the bad guys get a sneaky hit. Every punch feels heavy, every time they dodge it, it feels perfectly choreographed. When someone takes out a knife, you feel the tension that someone might actually die or have some serious injury. And I keep saying the good guys, but you will see that this show is not that black and white. Even the good guys resort to shady tactics to get their way. It's a grey world where they need to do everything in order to survive. Every step forward has consequences. As a conclusion, I can say this show really delivered a competent story packed with some amazing action scenes. You don't need to wait for a second season, as this is a complete story from start to end. I don't want to say any more than this, as even with the spoilers I've talked about, the show still has plenty more to reveal, and I hope I convince you to go watch it. If you like this video, consider subscribing, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you, and I'm out.